Let us see how ledger architecture works in Fusion. In Fusion, we all know that it's similar to EBS R12. We have a 4Cs, chart of accounts, calendar, and currencies and encoding method. This is a screenshot I have taken from Oracle. We can group these 4Cs into a ledger and complete the configuration process. It's for the primary ledger. And of course, the same rule applicable for secondary ledger as well. We are going to see how primary ledger and secondary ledger works here. Mainly how secondary ledger is copied from primary ledger. It's almost similar to EBS R12 if you know. Now, this is also I have taken from Oracle screenshot. And the primary ledger, we can have multiple primary ledger as you know that it's similar to R12. I'll try to say R12 wherever it is similar so that viewers can understand fast if they know Oracle EBS well. Client can have multiple ledger if there is a requirement, and we can have a secondary ledger for each and every primary ledger if it is required. Secondary ledger when it will come into picture. Whenever 3Cs, not a 4Cs, accounting convention is an optional. Whenever chart of accounts, calendar, and currencies, whenever there is a 1C is different for any, say, example, local and statutory requirement. For example, in Asia, we may have to have a tax book for FA. If you need a tax book for FA, and you need to have a different calculation. Capital allowance. Capital allowance is nothing but depreciation. For corporate book, depreciation rate will be different, and tax book depreciation rate will be different. In this case, if you want to treat and account differently your depreciation, where you need to post it into secondary ledger, I'll explain in a separate video about the FA, how it works. So to meet the local accounting requirement, if you need to meet the local accounting requirement, if you want to accounting it differently, and anyone see changes, chart of account, calendar, and currencies, you are forced to create a secondary ledger. And there is an exception, only if there is a currency is different. I'll explain a little bit later. Only currency is different, we have an option in the Fusion. Secondary ledger. As I mentioned, secondary ledger is mandatory from here onwards, all of my notes. From secondary ledger, wherever 1C is different, and for reporting purposes or any statutory requirement purposes, we need to have a secondary ledger. Go to secondary ledger, go to specific ledger options. In this case, system will ask you to select the primary ledger because we are going to link the secondary ledger to the primary ledger. If you have a multiple primary ledger, say example, if you have a 2 primary ledger, if you need, you can have 2 secondary ledger, each for 1 primary ledger if it is required. Technically, it is possible. In this example, I have selected only 1 primary ledger. Ensure that you completed the primary ledger as a whole before you start configuring the secondary ledger. And select the primary ledger against which you want to create a secondary ledger. Go to it. System will take you to, if you click apply and go task, system will take you to the mapping pages where you have an option to map each and every area, chart of accounts, calendar, and currencies, and accounting method, accounting conversions, other C. But it's an optional. So these 3Cs are mandatory. Let us discuss about conversion option. That is also exactly like a EBS R12. So let us discuss a little bit later. So select your chart of accounts. If your chart of account is different to meet the different accounting requirement, can be any GAAP, UK GAAP or Singapore GAAP or US GAAP, whatever it is. If you have any statutory requirement to reporting it differently, create a different, configure the chart of accounts and select the different chart of account for your secondary ledger. Calendar. We have a different calendar option to choose to report for any different purposes. Say example, some country may have to have floating calendar close, fixed calendar close 445 for different reasons. If you have a different requirement, select a different calendar. And the last option is the currency. If there is an option required only to choose different currency, you don't need to create a secondary ledger. Again, if client needs different ledger only for different currency calculations, where there is a requirement only for different currency representation. Example, you have an office in UK, but your head office is in US. You want to report all the UK operations in terms of US currencies. You can have ledger called ALC. It is exactly like a multiple currencies in your R12. ALC is nothing but alternative ledger currency. It's nothing but multiple MRCs and older terminologies, and it's the same like a Oracle R12. There's no big difference. You have to create a ALC ledger, currency ledger, not a secondary ledger. So choose your currencies and accounting method. Finally, it's an option. Of course, if you want to have a only different accounting method, you know how to do it. You have to have, you don't need to create a separate secondary ledger. You can play around using your SLA method. Data conversions. This video I stick to only to secondary ledger, so I'm not able to explain further on SLA. Let us cover in different video. Data conversion, the last key options. There are 4 options. It is also exactly like a EBS R12. There is no difference. We have 4 options. We have adjustment only, balance, journal, and subledgers. Nothing but all your APA, RPO, etc. Adjustment only. So whenever we go for a secondary ledger, we have to keep in mind it's a trade-off. It's a requirement, how to meet the local requirement or reporting requirement, or meet the subsidiary company to report into corporate or head office. Keep all those requirements on one hand. On the other hand, validate the option that you need to choose. Always try to convince or balance more than a convince the word. Try to balance choosing the data conversion option. Adjustment only. It's a greater advantage. Only if client agrees. You want to have only passing the adjustment journals to the secondary ledger. It will be very, very minimum. Meaning what it means is secondary ledger means we are going to create one more ledger, and which is going to copy the data from your primary ledger. In other words, we are duplicating the records and storage space. It's not only storage space, it's going to impact the performance as well, performance of the application as well. More and more data, more and more complicated structure, more and more structures you are bringing into the picture. It may affect the performance. So easiest option, cheapest option in terms of storage and performance, adjustment only. Second easiest option is the balance, where you can have a balance. System will transfer only balance from primary ledger to secondary ledger. The third option is journal. System will transfer all the journals from primary ledger to secondary ledger. The last option is subledgers. All your subledger transactions, APA, RPO, everything will be transferred from primary to secondary. There is no validation, there is no record. I don't think understand why we have to create a secondary ledger by transferring all the subledger transactions from primary ledger to secondary ledger. It is nothing but we are going to duplicate, or we are duplicating exactly the primary ledger. It'll affect the performance. Now, how we have to validate? These 4 options has been explained here. What I have explained: adjustment only. If it is for any local accounting requirement or statutory requirement, you can have a adjustment only for the journal entry where requires adjustment. Balance, yes, I have done it myself for several times. Balance, it will transfer all the balances, and it is also inexpensive. Journal, yes, that also I have done for a couple of clients where journals would be transferred. Of course, it will little bit more expensive in terms of storage and performance. But if there is a requirement for multiple purposes, transfer the journal from primary to secondary and do it. And the least option is where we have to avoid. We have to demonstrate well to the client to ensure that we are not choosing these options. Subledger data conversions. Once we map all these 3 C's, and optionally if you define the accounting method as well, and system finally, whenever you click save and edit task, system will ask you to do the mapping. Go to perform chart of account mapping. manage the mapping, and we have multiple options to choose. What it means. Finally, before you complete, system will ask you to map the chart of accounts from your primary ledger to secondary ledger. Note that if there is no change required between primary ledger to secondary ledger chart of accounts, you don't need to do the mapping. Mapping is not mandatory. In this case, I assume that there is a change in the chart of accounts from primary to secondary. I have mapped. This also you would have seen. You would have seen in the form of consolidation screen. It's not an exact screen, of course. You would have seen similar screen in consolidation in VBS R12, where you have an option to map how you want to map from a primary ledger to secondary ledger mapping. Once you complete the primary ledger to secondary ledger mapping, choose the mapping, whatever the naming convention you are giving here, give this here and save and close this. And this is a way how to create a secondary ledger. It's a configurations, and also try to explain as much as possible why and when we need a secondary ledger. Thanks.